the main concern that I have around this, outside of the fact that monopolies are bad and consolidation is literally never a good thing, is that this is a potentially massive threat to theaters existing and theatrical releases, which some people may not give a shit. Some people are going to listen to this and they'll be like, I don't even go to the fucking theater. I don't care if it goes to the theater or not. To you, I say, bah humbug. The theater's fucking amazing. I'm the weirdo that goes to movies by myself because it's a good, fun time. I don't even review them. Aaron used to review them. So, that makes a little bit more sense. I'm just a weirdo. Just kidding. You should try it. It's awesome to go to the theater by yourself. But anyway.
No, it kicks ass.
It truly does. Like, you will not find a place where you can truly escape the fact that you are on the mortal plane more than a large dark room with a giant flashing screen in front of you. It truly is an out-of-body experience. But regardless of any of that, this does legitimately pose a threat to the movie-going experience, because if rumors are to be believed, Netflix is reportedly wanting to try and shorten the theatrical release window for their movies at cinemas to 17 days. I found this article. There's a quote in it that I thought was pretty cool. It says, sources have told Deadline that Netflix have been proponents of a 17-day window, which would steamroll the theatrical business, while circuits such as AMC believe the line needs to be held at around 45 days. So we actually looked that up yesterday. It does seem like it used to actually be 90 before COVID. At least that's what you found, Aaron, if I'm correct. Yep. So we've actually already dropped from where it used to be, and then Netflix wants to yet again cut that down by about a little more than a half, which is just kind of crazy to me. Personally, kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, completely. I think, I mean, I am a movie theater loyalist, both for sort of practical and more esoteric reasons. But I'm also not completely blind to the fact that distribution models change, right? This is obvious. The way that home release was integrated into the theatrical release system back during the early days of home video, just obviously is not sustainable anymore, because despite the fact that I still like physical media has largely been relegated to the corners of the community that are actually like enthusiasts or collectors or people who are really into special features and stuff like that. People aren't purchasing home releases anymore. They are occasionally renting them to stream and usually just waiting for them to appear on a platform like Netflix, which is why Netflix wants to shorten that theatrical window and get everything onto Netflix as quickly as possible so that people have reasons to continue to pay the ever-increasing price of Netflix. That, to me, just sucks, because ultimately it really genuinely doesn't benefit anybody but Netflix. I mean, I understand that people get salty about waiting, but knowing that the movie is eventually going to be released onto the platform, I don't understand what the big hullabaloo is about 15 extra days or 20 extra days. And, in order to juice your subscriber count, you're going to torpedo an entire industry. Yeah, I mean, that's a suitably tech industry sort of move, but it does completely ignore the artistic and experiential value of the theatrical experience, which this is going to make me sound potentially a certain way to a vast array of people who may or may not ever listen to this. But I'm one of the people who do believe that most movies are better in the cinema. Like the experience, even if theaters are gross and sometimes there's inconsiderate people and it's expensive and whatever, being completely enveloped by the experience of watching a movie, seeing something projected onto a really large screen the way that it was intended, especially if it was made by an auteur director, these things do contribute to the they contribute to the film feeling like a film, like an experience, like a piece of art, and not just like content. Watching it at home is great. Watching it on your phone is not really ideal, but those do contribute to all of these things feeling more like products, feeling more like components in the endless stream of content that has come to colonize your time, and not the grand vision of an artist and a group of collaborative artists all working together to bring something to life so that it can be appreciated communally by a group of appreciators and enthusiasts. It's just a lose situation, in my opinion. Economically, it's bad. Experientially, it's bad. Artistically, it's bad. There's a runoff effect of all of the different ways that film production itself has been changed, and like the way that the colors are treated, the way that different like camera technology is used to make things more palatable on small screens that actually changes like the cinematic texture of the image. And all of this shit is happening because Netflix really wants you to watch fucking Adam Sandler movies on your phone. And it's aggravating and sad.
Yeah, I mean, truly, I think that for me, the biggest thing is like, if we live in a world where people no longer go to the movie theater in the way that they do or even did, right? Like, I was worried about this during COVID. I was like, oh my God, is COVID going to kill movie theaters for me? Like, I really love this experience. It's a solid way for me to de-stress, da-da-da-da-da. And then fortunately, COVID didn't do it. And I was like, thank God. I can still go to my Alamo and have a good time. But, you know, here we are again because there is no God and I must always suffer. And this question is coming back up. And truly, I think the biggest thing is like there are so many things in this world that are pushing us to just not exist outside of our homes, exist outside of our technology. And some people may get kind of eye-rolly here, but I'm a big proponent for third spaces. And I would not say that the movie theater is a third space because definitionally it is not. You have to pay to go to the movies, so it can't really be a third space where people can just hang out. But I do think it is important to have external spots where people meet to have fun and enjoy themselves and interact with others. And I think, too, one of the cool things about movie theaters is if you are a little bit more introverted, there's no expectation that you hang out with other people. Heck, you may just go to a relatively empty theater, but you're still leaving the goddamn house, which I think is like very, very, very important. I don't think like I can oversell how important I think that is in this modern day and age, just to have these places to go. And if Netflix just kills it so you can do the same thing from your bed, it's just shitty to me. I think there's like some things, it happens in video games where people will like streamline mechanics to make the user experience better, air quotes, but then I think you like lose something typically, or you can lose something from the game. This is like the real life version of that, of like, we're going to make it so easy on people so that they don't need to socialize. Who needs a girlfriend when you can fuck an AI? Like, I mean, I guess the one's more convenient and easy and I avoid rejection, but maybe the things in life that are a little bit more difficult add value and flavor in ways that, you know, simplicity does not. Well, that's kind of how I feel about it. That's the thing,
right? And that is sorry to cut you off. No, I was going to say it's actually a pretty apt analogy. Because, I mean, it really is the texture of life, right? The friction that brings value to things, and removing the need for anybody to go out of the home for any reason, or really to just not be looking at their phone for any stretch of time. Removing that does not, in my opinion, add value to one's life. It might remove friction, but it does not add value to your life. It adds value to the bottom line of whichever application you have open while you're blankly staring at your phone and absent-mindedly watching Train Dreams. Like, it doesn't add much. I couldn't agree more with you, Zach.
Yeah, it's just this constant push to isolate ourselves more and more just really kind of pisses me off because it just leads to so many social ills. But like the one thing that I do think is legitimate, right, when it comes to like movie theater versus like subscription, we talked about this yesterday too, is like the movie theater is expensive. It is more expensive. I get it. Aaron and I are two, single dudes. We interact with the movie theater either just like by ourselves or if it's a date or going with friends, right? But like the amount of money that we sink into a single movie theater trip is like ranging 10 to like up like $30 at most if you get like food and other stuff. If you're a parent, do the nuclear family thing. So husband, wife, 2 kids, Jimmy and Joni, and they got a J thing in this family, I guess. But that could be upwards of $60 to go to the movies, which is like not a small cost. And I can understand how that could lead to situations where people would prefer to have, a streaming service step in and they can make their own food and popcorn from the comfort of their home, and they don't have to spend $60+ just to have this, 2-hour experience. So I get it, but I still think if theaters just completely disappear, that's just, to me, still not worth saving the nuclear family money. I don't know. Maybe that's elitist of me, but
the thing is, I don't think that you need to. The thing is that the two ideas aren't mutually exclusive, right? Like, you can have the film on the small screen, and I have this whole diatribe that I won't go on except for in very brief about how the TV, the concept of the TV as a communal gathering point for a family in the living room is dying. TV sales are declining rapidly, and people are more than ever. A family gathering is, in the nuclear family, 4 people, each individually, possibly in different rooms, all watching individual things on their individual devices, which is not really the communal experience that, like, I don't know, teaches young people how to socialize or forges positive familial memories that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. Like I will, many memories of watching movies with my family at home. But take that out of it for a moment and think to yourself, what we're talking about is a margin of 15 to 20 days. From 17 days up to like a 37 to 45 day release window, right? Putting the movie into the theater does not inhibit a nuclear family's ability to watch that film later on a streaming service. It just means they have to wait 15 to 20 days. So I don't think that torpedoing the entire industry for the sake of having it on your platform that much faster makes a whole lot of sense unless you are, in the tech industry at all. So I completely agree with the argument as a whole that the theater is not accessible to some and not feasible for some. But I don't believe that it's the theater's fault that they can't watch the movie. And I know that's not what you were suggesting, but it's not to say that killing movie theaters is somehow in any way benefiting people who can't afford to bring the entire family to the movie theater and spend $85 on popcorn and fucking Junior Mints. And then completely unrelated but side tangent, there's also the entire argument that there are a growing number of really phenomenal directors, generationally talented and important voices, filmmakers, actors, creatives across, the industry who repeatedly say, not, I am assuming, just because they stand to benefit from it financially, but because a lot of these people, in my opinion, do have some measure of artistic integrity. Think your Guillermo del Toros and whatnot, who will say, no, this really ought to have been in a movie theater. I would like this to be in a movie theater. There are people getting into fights with Netflix all the time about the movie theater deals that they get as a result of signing on to produce their movie and distribute it with Netflix. So, the artistic side of the industry tends to want people to experience the film in a theater. The theater side of the industry obviously wants people to keep coming back to the theater, and Netflix just wants to juice their subscriber count. And the death of Warner Brothers, a legacy studio, at the hands of Netflix, and all of that just sort of being subsumed into one big little square / circle icon on your phone is just like condensing of the human experience that feels deeply upsetting to me on many levels. So that's kind of my thought on it.
Yeah, I'll just say as my closeout for like at least this film portion, well, really only this film portion because we are going to get into the game side. It is very funny to me that what is considered largely to be the like premium streaming service, being HBO Max, is now going to be associated with Netflix, which I would argue is maybe
Is the Walmart
considered
$5 bin?
Yeah, like the Walmart $5 streaming service. I mean, obviously they have some shows that like are pretty high budget and like solid. Like I don't remember if was it Dark that was like the German kind of Stranger Things, and then there's Stranger Things, obviously, and they've had shows on Netflix that they've produced that are like pretty fairly high budget, like compelling stories, whatever. But by and large, I feel like Netflix is kind of just like the bargain bin, especially because we've seen like Amazon kind of step up their game, and like Apple certainly step up their game with like Severance, and I think there's a show on Apple called Silo that I haven't watched, but I've had
Silo is pretty good.
Yeah, I've had
now
people
there's
recommend.
Pluribus.
Pluribus, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, anyway, regardless of any of that, it is very funny to see like the most premium streaming service out there get consolidated into bargain bin. We'll see what happens with that. It'll be interesting. Oh boy. Surely the HBO Max experience will only get better. Anyway.
Do I sound enthusiastic?
Yeah. Surely it'll only get better. That's how capitalism works, right?
Yeah.
Late stage capitalism, baby. Yay.
We love it. We celebrate it. We're here for it. No, I mean, yeah, I completely agree. It's fascinating, right? Like Netflix has their handful of like token creatives that they bring in to make legitimately good and legitimately important and like actually artistically value-laden films. Charlie Kaufman's done work for Netflix. David Fincher's done work for Netflix. Del Toro's done work for Netflix. I'm actually now blanking on the woman who directed Jane Campion, I think, who did Power of the Dog. You know, like there's a bunch of good movies on Netflix, but they're really only there so that Netflix can claim prestige. Netflix doesn't care about putting them into movie theaters. They just want their names to be said at the Oscars. That's it. They think it is a minor value add, where the major value add is algorithmically written second screen experiences starring Joey King. That's really Netflix's bread and butter. So yeah, it is kind of disheartening to see that there's a very, very strong potential that HBO, long the bastion and arguably the creator of prestige television, especially, is just possibly going to get gobbled up into that content mill and start spitting out dreck, very possibly. You know, how many years till it gets all wrapped up into the Netflix app and HBO just becomes Netflix?